All right, 1.3 talks about solving multi-step equations when you have variables on both sides of your equation. So let's look at some problems. Okay, so number one, write it down. We've got 10 minus 4x equals a negative 9x. And I like to draw the line down the middle so you see both sides of the equation. So your first step is to combine all like terms, have variables on one side, numbers on the other. So I already have a constant on the left side and I have a variable on the right side. So let's go ahead and get that negative 4x over to the right. So if it is a minus 4x, the opposite of subtracting 4x would be to add 4x on both sides. So I'm going to add 4x over here. That cancels, so I have 10, bring down my equal sign straight down, and then I've got a negative 9x plus 4x, which gives me a negative 5x. Okay, so it is trying to isolate x, negative 5 times x. The opposite of multiplying is dividing both sides by a negative 5. So negative 5 divided by negative 5 cancels out. So I'm left with x equals 10 divided by a negative 5 gives you a negative 2. And remember, when you are done, circle your answer. Okay, now let's look at the second problem. Here is a little bit different. I have parentheses on both sides, and I still have my x's on both sides. So when you have parentheses, you have to distribute throughout the parentheses. So the 3 gets distributed to that 3x and the negative 4. So 3 times 3x gives you 9x. 3 times a negative 4 gives you a negative 12. You're going to bring that equal sign straight down. And then 1/4 of 32 gives you 8x. 1/4 of 56 gives you 16. Okay? I'm sorry, not 16. It gives you 14. Okay? Let me change that to a 14. Okay, so then combining variables on one side, numbers on the other, constants on the other. So if I were to look at my 9x and my 8x, if I were to subtract 8x on this side, I end up with a positive x. But if I were to subtract 9x on both sides, I would end up with a negative 1x. It is easier to subtract 8x on both sides because then you are left with a positive variable. Okay, so 8x minus 8x cancels out. Bring my equal sign straight down. Bring my 14 straight down. And then negative 12 comes straight down. And then 9x minus 8x is 1x. Next step, combining like terms. I have to get that 12 to the other side. So the opposite of subtracting 12 would be to add 12. Bring my equal sign straight down. 1x, bring it down. And then 14 plus 12 gives us 26. So 1x is the exact same thing as x equals 26.